If you ask anyone who the best player on the field was in that game, 9 out of 10 people are going to say Patrick Mahomes, and there's going to be one person that's wrong.
Tua is really like the iOS upgrade of Tyrod Taylor. He can throw the ball better. He can run the ball a little bit better.
9 of the last 20 Super Bowl losers failed to make the playoffs the next year.
I can't say I love it. It's a slippery slope when you're franchising a franchise quarterback. For the Bucs, I mean, it's a great move. You go from one of the most careless passers in the league to one of the most careful passers in the league. They have Taysom Hill. Obviously, he's more of a gadget guy. Handpick a wide receiver in the NFL that you would want to see play with Kyler Murray in Cliff Kingsbury's air raid offense. You would pick DeAndre Hopkins.
I just will never say that it's the right decision to trade a former MVP and probably a future MVP who is entering the prime of his career.
In the short term, there's no way around it and saying that Quinnipiac is in trouble.
Iguodala is essentially taking an $11 million gap year. Brian, I had you on my radio show earlier in the year. You picked the team to finish top 4. You didn't say they would win the conference. They're sitting at 3rd right now. What are the chances that they turn things around and prove you wrong? Shay Carlson alongside me here on the couch. We're talking Celtics. Last season obviously didn't go as planned. This year it's been a different story. What do you think has changed? Another group that you talked about before the season was the group of freshmen. Obviously you say the goaltender not really playing at all, but as far as the skaters, what has impressed you most about this freshman class? So they're sitting in that 3 seed right now. Going to be a tough road, but who do you think is their biggest competitor to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals? So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the season, getting late towards tournament time. Who surprised you this season, kind of outplayed their expectations?
Since their freshman year, Quinnipiac is 62-8 in the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference, winning 3 straight regular season and tournament titles. They've made 3 NCAA tournaments and won 3 games, including making the Sweet 16 as freshmen.
All of that is in the past. For now, these seniors are focused on their future, a future that began today here at Lender Court, where the Bobcats picked up a key victory in their quest to win a 5th straight MAC regular season title.
With 6 games remaining, Quinnipiac is just 3 back. For these seniors, the quest for a perfect MAC career is still alive. From the People's United Center, Logan Reardon, QNN Sports.
Welcome in. This is Regional Sports Tonight. I'm Logan Reardon alongside Steve Zacco. From Boston to New York, Stores to Hamden, we've got a busy show for you tonight. The 2020 MAC Indoor Track and Field Championships took place over the weekend at New Balance Armory Track and Field Center in New York City. Monmouth University entered as the 6-time defending winners of the event. Quinnipiac placed 4th last year, but 2020 was a different story. Led by freshman Tara Zenny, the Bobcats finished the first day in 2nd place. Zenny broke the MAC championship meet record and Quinnipiac school record in the long jump with a 6.24-meter leap. On day 2, Zenny and the Bobcats shined again. She was named MAC Rookie of the Meet and Most Outstanding Performer, the first freshman to win both awards in the same year in conference history. Rider University ultimately won the meet, defeating 2nd place Quinnipiac by half a point. And while that's really the only debate going on about the Chiefs, the opposing sideline is littered with questions. Sunday marked the 2nd time in as many appearances that a Kyle Shanahan-led team blew a 4th-quarter double-digit lead in the Super Bowl. Shanahan may have had some questionable play calls, but much of the blame is also being placed on Jimmy Garoppolo. Dan, what do you think? Granted, he wants to play for a contender. He's a veteran. He's accustomed to playing with championship teams with the Warriors the past 4 or 5 years. But, I mean, he's a perfect veteran for that Grizzlies team with young guys like Ja Morant, Dylan Brooks, Jaren Jackson. He would have been a perfect veteran for them as they push to make the playoffs and maybe get some experience against a team like the Lakers or Clippers in the first round. That's kind of the first building block. You saw that the Thunder kind of did the same thing with Westbrook and Harden and KD. They start as an 8 seed, you work your way up. He would have been a great veteran fit on that team.
As good as Zeke is, as good as Amari Cooper is, as good as the guys on that defense are, Leighton Vander Esch, Jalen Smith, guys like that, but Dak is the most important guy to that franchise. Don't make any mistake about that.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it on paper, they've got one of the best defenses in the league, one of the best young coaches in the league, a very good young quarterback, but you're looking ahead, every year these guys are going to lose people in free agency. Jimmy's contract is only going up. Shanahan's pressure is only going up. It's going to be tough with an NFC that's loaded with teams like the Saints, the Seahawks, even like the Rams, the Eagles, the Cowboys. There's so much competition, and every year it seems like the team that loses the Super Bowl always struggles a little bit the next season.
Maybe more importantly for me is kind of what his team and his teammates say about him. He wore number 7 at LSU, and for those of you who don't know, that's kind of like a number 10 at Brazil soccer. That's the spot where this is our best player. You're wearing number 7. Tyrann Matthews wore it, Patrick Peterson, Leonard Fournette. It's always their best players wearing number 7, and the fact that he was granted that jersey number before the season, came into the season, won the Jim Thorpe Award, helped win a national championship. I think he's going to be a guy with a winning pedigree.
Logan, what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, Shea mentioned the 2003 NBA draft, and while that makes sense, the top player at the top is going to be one of the all-time greats likely. Every draft needs its TJ Ford. It's second-tier point guard who's going to run the show for a while, get the job done, and do a great job doing it. Solid for 5, 10, 15 years, and that's Tyasha Harris, South Carolina point guard. Rich Kelly's going to be playing at Duke, at North Carolina, on the road, in those atmospheres. That's just something that you can't find in the MAC, obviously. And same for Kevin Marfo. I mean, it's a big program. Buzz Williams, one of the more well-known coaches in college basketball. Last season, they ran the 10 personnel, which is 1 running back, 0 tight ends, 4 wide receivers, more than any team in the NFL. You have 4 wide receivers. They have guys outside of Hopkins now. They have Christian Kirk and Larry Fitzgerald. That's 3 bona fide receivers who are on the rise. 2 of them are on the rise. One of them seems like he's been steady for the last 15 years, hasn't moved at all. He's a perfect fit with Kyler Murray and Cliff Kingsbury. It's going to be really fun to watch how they play together.
What about your thoughts on the Bruins?
The Bruins, I mean, they're sitting atop the conference, but they've been struggling a little bit as of late. They didn't really get too many big pieces at the deadline like the Capitals did, so it's going to be tough for them moving forward, I think.
What game would you like to watch in your quarantine house for the rest of quarantine and coronavirus? And Logan, I'll start with you.
Yeah, this was a tough one. There's a lot of great classic games going around, and it's fun to watch all of them. But for me, it's Super Bowl 49, Pats Seahawks. This game pretty much has everything that you need as a sports fan, Patriots fan or not, unless you're a Seahawks fan, I guess. Look at the factors in this game. Tom Brady hasn't won a Super Bowl in 10 years. People think of him today as the guy who wins every other year, but they went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl. People forget that. They lost 2 in the middle there. Deflategate, that was 2 weeks earlier than that. The announcers every other possession are saying what may or may not happen. Is it a big deal? Is it not a big deal? That's hanging over everyone's head. On the other side of the ball, you've got Russell Wilson in his 3rd year going for his 2nd straight Super Bowl already. You've got the Legion of Boom, who's in the running for one of the greatest defenses of all time, one of the greatest 2-year runs in NFL history on the defensive side of the ball. The Pats go down 10 in the second half. 4th quarter, they're down 10. They come back, they take the lead. Jermaine Kearse with the unbelievable circus catch that gets forgotten because Malcolm Butler makes the improbable play to win the Super Bowl, get Brady off the schneid, win his 4th Super Bowl, and kind of kickstart this second half of the Pats dynasty. Oh, and not to mention, at the end of the game, the Pats got the ball back after that interception, and there was an all-out brawl on the field because the Seahawks were so angry that they jumped off sides and cost themselves a chance at a safety. That game, entertaining from start to finish.